You work hard, get results, and you're a team player. Yet, your boss doesn't seem to like you, which makes it even more frustrating that they seem to love Slacker Chad, even though he doesn't do anything. In fact, Chad seems to be your boss's favorite, and you know that's putting Chad at an advantage when it comes to performance reviews, pay increases, and promotion. How does he do it? Well, Chad knows the 4 rules to make your boss like you. If you want to know what they are, I'm about to tell you. Just tap that like button to let me know that you're ready, and let's jump straight into it. The first rule to make your boss like you is to relate and validate. Chad knows that commonality creates connection. Whether that connection is created by cheering for the same sports team, a shared habit of waking up at 5:15 a.m. to meditate, or having graduated from the same college. Heck, maybe your boss relates to Chad because your boss is a Chad. Happens all the time. In any event, your boss sees themselves in Chad, or they want to see themselves in Chad. Remember from my 5 villains video, everyone likes Chad and he's pretty cool. And because they see themselves in Chad, liking Chad, giving Chad opportunities, and even promoting Chad is an act of self-validation. If your boss thinks that meditating at 5:15 a.m. is going to make them more successful, they're going to apply that framework when they're dealing with Chad. Of course, this is not a conscious dynamic, but it's a dynamic nonetheless. You, on the other hand, maybe your boss doesn't really relate to you. Perhaps outside of the typical work stuff, it's super awkward having a conversation with them. Like, thank goodness for remote work because it avoids that whole awkwardness of accidentally stepping into the same elevator with them and having that 60-second elevator ride of weirdness. If you've been there, let me know in the comments. The thing is, oftentimes you can spot something that you have in common. Are you both yogis? Do you both passionately despise the new Matrix movie? Okay, everyone does. That one might be too easy. If you can find common ground, you can forge a connection. That said, this might not always be in the cards. Like, don't start watching football because it's what Chad and your boss are talking about. Instead, you can focus on the validating aspect by applying rule 2 to make your boss like you. And that is to make them look or feel good. If you follow me on Instagram, and you should because I post there pretty much daily and I have a brand new AMA Wednesdays thing that I have going on, you'll know I'm absolutely obsessed with the book, The 48 Laws of Power right now. When I sat down to start reading, I cracked open that book and the very first chapter is Never Outshine the Master. As soon as I saw that, I was absolutely hooked because I completely agree with that being the most important rule. When we take a look at Chad, even if Chad is a little bit of a power-hungry Avery, Chad knows not to make themselves look better than the boss, and they would absolutely never make someone with decision-making authority in their career look bad. They know the cost. Now, does your boss happen to be a bit of a moron who has no business being in the job they're in? You know it's never what I want to assume, but it's possible. Peter's principle does mean a lot of incompetent people rise up. However, does you shining a light on that fact to them, to the team, or anyone whose attention you have help you? Nope. And if you feel this need to take them down a notch, I want you to answer this question honestly. Why do you want to do that? If you're answering honestly, it's probably because they've made you feel bad in some sort of way. The thing is, while complaining about your boss, exposing their incompetence in a meeting, or even just pointing out a mistake in a direct message might make you feel good for a second, it's going to make your boss feel bad and inferior and not like you. Because how you feel about someone is really a reflection of how they make you feel about yourself. And when someone feels bad, too often the reaction is to drag you down with them. So don't do that to them and don't do that to yourself. Because when it happens, it's a cycle that goes on and on and on and no one wins. I'm not saying that you should never give your boss constructive feedback, especially if you have a good relationship where you can have those conversations. Give them feedback. I'm not saying to not escalate when they do something seriously wrong, and especially if they do something illegal. But if the point of the action is just to demonstrate their incompetence, know that it's going to make you not just not liked by your boss, but it's also going to make you a target. Now, if you're in the situation where your boss has made you feel bad because they're not a good boss, they don't really know what they're doing, you're much better off to rebuild your self-worth, which is actually the topic of my next video. So if you need that one, make sure you're subscribed so you see it as soon as it comes out. But But really, what is going to serve your career and the dynamic much better is to make your boss feel good about themselves or to look good. Focus on crushing that KPI that they're measured on as a leader. Give them positive feedback when they do something good. It's Pavlovian, but it works. Or find a way to reduce their workload or number of headaches. And when you do those things, your boss is going to like you. And that's going to have benefits for you and your career. And actually, this brings me to my third rule. And what I love about rule 3 is that not only is it transformative, it's one that gives you a huge advantage over Slacker chat. Bring your boss solutions, not problems. Let me tell you a story about two people who reported to me in the past. We'll call them Tony and Abby. Abby was awesome. Not only was she great at her job, but anytime that she identified a problem, a process gap, or needed something in order to do her job, she would create the solution. And in any cases where she needed me to greenlight something, she would come to me with that solution in hand. Not only was she making my life easier and her life easier, she was actually helping her entire team and building a better company. And that was helping her in her career. On the other hand, we had Tony. Tony also spotted problems. And when Tony spotted a problem, he would complain about it. Well, not just complain. He would dump those problems on someone else, most typically me, his boss, the person doing his performance review and deciding if he got a pay increase. And quite frankly, not only did I dislike Tony a little bit more every time he did this, each time demonstrated his incompetence in the role. And every time he would do it, I would turn to Abby, who I knew would get things done, and she got the career advancing opportunities out of it. Whether it's a client issue, a technical glitch, or a process gap. When you spot a problem, don't just bring that problem to your boss. Suggest a solution. It's going to show your boss that you're proactive, intelligent, and heck, it might even help you with rule number 2, which actually brings me to the 4th rule, to make your boss like you. And this one is simple, but oh so complex. Be likable. And this, of course, is one of the hallmarks of Slacker chat. Everyone likes him. And I know whenever I talk about Chad, a lot of you think that I don't like him. I like him too, because whether it's intentional or not, Chad is very likable. I want to be clear here. Being likable isn't a skill that you either have or don't have. Likability is a skill that you can and should develop. In fact, I want you to go and watch this video right now so that you can figure out some instant likability boosters. But before you go, if you enjoyed this video, if it helped you, give it a thumbs up. Really helps my channel, makes you my favorite career bestie. Win-win situation. While you're there, consider subscribing if you haven't already. As always, my friend, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.